Hey everyone, it's your girl Maddie here, aka Beavermosh, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by Nick of Dolven, who actually just today at recording put out their latest record, "In My Grave, Silence." Um, Nick, how excited are you to get this record out finally?
Yeah, it's great. These things take a long time. So
Yeah.
we all have lives, and getting people together is always a struggle. So when it actually happens and the thing starts getting promotion and we start to get near the end and the release, it's pretty exciting, of course. So, and I think this one's going to get more exposure than usual, which has been exciting because we had Fiadh Productions with the CD and the tape, and I had Ear Split help us do some promotion. So yeah, it's getting out there a lot more, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. Now you're penning this and kind of selling your band as acoustic doom metal, and some might hear that and be like, what, that doesn't make any sense. So how do you kind of explain this? So what makes it doom metal?
For me, Doom is, really emotional,
Yeah.
super engaged with the deeper thoughts, also very heavy, guitar driven.
Mhm.
So the whole idea with this is to do that with acoustic guitars, and I feel like my acoustic guitar is always right near me. I can grab it at any time, and I'm writing lit riffs. And initially, I thought I was just going to write a doom album with, distortion and stuff, but it sounded really cool and unique, the way it came out. And I feel like the power of the steel string acoustic can be just as heavy, can be just as heavy as distortion, and it lends itself to more melancholy, I think, and to me, that's what doom is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm on the traditional doom, like Sabbath and Solitude Eternus and Warning and all these bands that are super emotional,
Yeah.
and so I wanted to write music like that, but not be a copy. I just wanted to try to be unique. So once we started recording, and the only way I could record at the time was with my acoustic guitar, it sounded really cool, and the idea to distort it kind of went away. So
Yeah. When I listen to your project, the first kind of thing that comes to mind, the first band that comes to mind that kind of does something maybe similar is 40 Watt Sun, starting out as doom, but kind of incorporating other tonalities that maybe not quite scream metal, but you still feel that atmosphere. You still feel that deep, sorrow that you comes from Doom.
oh, Patrick Walker, he is a goddamn genius, and everything that guy does is, in my mind, is perfect. And whatever way he writes, and his obviously his vocal style is so emotional, and that's really hard to replicate. I can't sing, so I always have to find people to help me sing. But yeah, he's one of my favorite musicians ever. So
Hmm.
I'm glad that reminds you of that, because that's kind of what the idea was initially. It was Warning.
Yeah.
Strength to Dream by Warning is like fucking my like top five album. So it's just something that I love so much.
No, yeah, Patrick Walker and Warning. I don't think there is a sadder band in metal. I think they might be the saddest band, and it's incredible because of that.
But it makes me feel really happy, there's
Yeah.
and that's the idea with this music too. It's like it's sorrowful, but at the same time it's hopeful. There's something hopeful about it that I feel, and it makes me kind of happy to listen to.
Now, gonna talk about Dan Swano. Dan Swano had his hands on this record. What was it like working with him?
Oh man, he's Edge of Sanity when I was a kid was like one of my favorite bands, and everything Swano touches is gold, obviously. So basically, I just reached, he's doing this as a business, so I just reached out, and he had an opening, and like, let's go, let's do it. He's like, I can only do it if you send me the tracks in the next 3 days or something. I was like, oh shit, okay, here we go, here we go. So I made it happen. It's just, and I don't really have a relationship with him or anything besides over email, but man, just knowing that he kind of twiddled his fingers on it, it's just really cool.
I've talked with a few other bands who've also worked with Dan Swano, and they kind of say the same thing. Like, he's for as busy and as much as he's done, he's very accessible. You can
Yeah,
cut
isn't
and
that
paste.
crazy? Like,
Yeah.
how many of our idols can we reach out to like that? And it's just so accessible. Yeah, like you say.
I'm curious because a few of the people that have worked on Dolven with you are also part of Agalot. How did the connection with those guys come about?
We all moved to, well, Jason and I moved to Portland about the same time in the 90s. I was in Sculptured with Don Anderson in the 90s, like 96 or so.
Yeah.
And then Jason moved out to join Sculptured as well. So we all met about that time. And then John came around and John was writing for Agalock and they all joined together. And yeah, so I've just been tight with those guys for forever. And Jason's one of my best friends. So,
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
and then, so we need a drummer.
Yeah.
And, Hunter joined Agalock recently. And so it was pretty natural. Just like Hunter had a studio available. He lives in Georgia. So it's not really convenient or anything, but he had a studio available and was open to doing it. So we found him. And previously, I'd used other drummers, Tim Yatras from Mournful Congregation, and then Marty Hill also was also in Sculptured, but he helped me on the last album. But anyway, we just going through drummers.
I saw Mournful Congregation a couple weeks ago at a festival. Just unbelievable.
Dude,
Unbelievable live.
those guys talk about emotion, talk about power. It's fucking unbelievable what they can
Mhm.
do at like 50 BPMs.
Now, you said when you started this project that, you were sort of making Doom, but then you picked up your steel string and you're like, this is what was the original intention to start like an electric, just normal Doom metal band and just kind of
Yeah,
run this?
I I never really played acoustic guitar. I always played electric. So it's just
Huh.
I was actually living in Germany at the time, and I ended up buying an acoustic because it was super cheap, and I didn't have an amp and all this shit. So I was just had it near me all the time, and I was just toying with it. So yeah, it started kind of out of a necessity kind of thing, which is interesting how that happens.
Yeah. Um, Fiadh, they are a friend of the show, have been on the show, and I'm just curious, how did the connection with Barian come about?
She's so amazing.
Yeah.
I was a fan. I was a fan of that label because I do a dungeon synth band called Traveler's Rest. So we were working together on one of my side projects. I do this. I have this pub mouse project where it's just about this little mouse that lives in a pub when everybody leaves at night, and the mouse comes out and eats the nibbles and drinks beer
Yeah.
and shit like that. So I wrote an album about that, and she was interested in releasing it, and I was like, I'm Nick from Travelers Rest. She's like, I know Dolven. And I was like, what the fuck? How do you know Dolven? And so she said that Dolven was one of her bands that she really wanted to work with. So I was like, okay, well let's do that with the CD because I had already got my vinyl going because it takes forever to order that shit. So I had already got that going. But the CD and the tape she was open to releasing for me. But yeah, she's super awesome. Everything she does is gold, like that label is so fucking cool.
I did not know that you were had a Dungeon Synth project. That makes so much sense because I looked at this cover and actually one of my first reactions was this would be a Dungeon Synth cover. It has that like medieval sort of, you know, person on a quest kind of feeling that's like just is Dungeon Synth, but you put it on a doom metal album.
Yeah, all my shit that I do dungeon synthwise is all medieval, and very and I use my acoustic guitar, but I use a classical guitar on that. So it's kind of like a classical guitar mixed with synths. And yeah, it's all very it's all very old England. I love that shit. So
Why do you I mean, I kind of know the answer to this as someone who enjoys both Dungeon Synth and metal music, but how can why is it this such calm, serene music is so captivating to people who also like black metal? Like what where is the connection there?
that's a great question. That's
Yeah.
great. I feel like, we are all leaning into darkness.
Sure.
And in that darkness there is serenity. When you face death, there is nothing more I don't know. Once again, it's like it's to people on the outside looking at death seems sad, but to me it's like kind of a happy feeling, and I think that's pretty common amongst metalheads. And I don't know, closer I get to death, the better I feel. So the more I appreciate life, the more I appreciate my family, the more I appreciate fucking weather. I'm just constantly like doing shit, but when I slow down and I appreciate things, that's almost like you're going to die, you know, like you're getting closer to your deathbed when you feel that way, and that's a beautiful thing.
You know, you're kind of getting into some like philosophical territory, and I think this whole album that you're putting out, this acoustic doom record, just having the guts to say this is the type of doom that I'm doing, kind of in itself is a philosophical question because it like asks, what is doom? What
why
is
why did we define it this way? And
you know
why did, yeah, exactly, why do we have these rules and all this shit? But we do.
what does bands like Black Sabbath and Mournful Congregation and Candlemass and I don't know Sun bands that are all under the doom category would sound very different and now your band, what do they all share? What is doom?
So good. What do you think it is? I mean, yeah, I mean, we probably agree, but what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think slow is obviously the thing. Slow,
Yep.
mournful, crushing, and,
Crushing.
and just full of like I think like death metal and black metal kind of hones in on they all have their extremities. Like death metal is all about brutality, or black metal is all about like darkness. Where I think doom is more about just the extremity of like loss and melancholy.
Yep. Yep. Very good. A lot of suffering, and all these bands, they touch on things that I felt in my life. A lot of loss, like you said, and a lot of you know dealing with those emotions that surround with losing your loved ones and stuff. And I feel like that's pretty. I don't hear that kind of lyrically in black or death metal as much, but also doom is just guitars, heavy fucking guitars. And I don't know if I could, if I could try and write a riff. Like, of course, I can't be like Iommi or anything like that. But if I can write a riff that makes me feel something,
Mhm.
and makes me feel that kind of closeness to suffering and loss, then that's doom to me, I feel.
The album title is, I think says a lot to me. In My Grave Silence. It like kind of messages this almost at peace with death. Like this almost like, okay, we did it. It's over.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
it. And that's
Yep.
not something to be sad about or happy about. It just is kind of a fact.
For me, it's like finally I'm at peace. Finally I've quiet because my mind is going so fast. I've got fucking tons of projects. Life is hitting hard, many on many fronts. And the only, not that I want to like opt out now. I love life, but also I'm looking forward to this time where it's like I can just fucking chill out.
Yeah. Um, Something I do notice when I listen to the record is there is definitely an emphasis on a melodic component. Is that something that was very important to you to like really focus in on like the melodies of this record?
Oh yeah, definitely. Iron Maiden and Death and these bands that I don't know, even fucking Journey or something. I just like these melodies. They hit me in the heart, and I feel like when I listen to music, I listen for melody first off. I don't. Some of the extreme black metal kind of just that doesn't resonate with me. Even like constant black blast beat death metal doesn't resonate with me sometimes. But when I hear melodies and that use of melodies in the songwriting, I feel like that's the most powerful stuff for me.
Yeah, I think of a band like like My Dying Bride, who can nail
There
that.
you go. There you go. They're the best, dude. I was in the Fortress. Went to the Fortress Festival in Scarborough. I saw Agalock, and Aaron Stainthorpe was there. He was there, and he must live locally to that area. And I saw him, and he is just like bullshitting with fans. But I fucking had no nerve to go say hi to him, and I should have, man. That's such a regret. But
Yeah.
damn, My Dang Bride are top five band of me for me for sure.
Yeah. And when you talk about like melody, like they are so good at like
Yeah,
creating a feeling through the
yeah,
melody, but also being just so fucking heavy and
yep,
crushing. Like,
yeah. And like those Victorian themes, and I just love all that shit. I wish I had, I write everything by myself. I wish I had a partner almost, that felt that same emotion. Those kind of people are hard to find. So when you realize like bands that are real bands, and they are feeding off each other, they're jamming all the time. That's pretty fucking miraculous, you know.
Mhm. Yeah. Now you told me earlier that you were kind of pleased with, or you feel like this record is going to get a little bit more exposure than maybe the past ones. What does that feel like to find like they have something being like received and people like want to hear it, or people are like going out to like grab it? Like, no, did that what I mean, what?
Well, I'm in charge of my Bandcamp, so I can see, that this is getting a little bit more press and just a little more interest than before. I feel like our last two albums, production wise, were just a little bit. Uh, I don't know. We're a little bit off, and yeah, just sometimes I don't really realize that's happening until it gets put out, But so I feel a lot more confident with this one,
Yeah.
and then I think that you know having a video, the video wasn't us or anything. It was kind of a just a put together video of of a cemetery, which is it
Oh, I
fits
didn't
this.
even realize you did a video.
Yeah, we did a video for the first song, and it's just up on YouTube. But it's just like we hired a guy in Norway that
You're chosen. Okay.
yeah, that Jason had worked with. Actually, Sunbleach Stone is probably a better video. The You Chosen is just kind of like a lyrical video kind of thing. But
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, with the kind of the cross-shaped structure.
yeah, that
Yeah.
one. Yeah. So I don't know. That kind of helps. I hate kind of like all this the mechanism of promotion and getting into. I don't even know how to promote really.
Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook. Like I really don't know beyond that how to do it. So it's like, okay, let's find a PR firm that can kind of help us. But it seems to be working.
Hmm. Yeah, no, the business of music almost kind of it's a necessary evil. Like you have to like kind of know the marketing side of it for people to hear it, unfortunately. Like, and it's like it kind of takes the fun out of it. Sometimes for me,
Yeah,
it kind of does for like running the show. I kind of just want to do it and not worry about like, oh, algorithms, but
yeah,
it is part of it.
yeah. I kind of hate that as well. It makes me feel soulless almost, and um with the dungeon synth shit, it's kind of a tight scene or whatever. So you, once you promote your album for a couple of days, it kind of reaches everybody. I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't know how to escape that kind of orbit of these things. It's tricky, but that's why maybe the PR thing helps, or I don't know, man. It's really tricky. I don't really even know if I fucking care. Like, why are we even trying to do this? Like, what is music? Do we have to put it out? Can I just write this shit and be happy with it on my own? What's the idea with wanting to put it out? I often go through these things.
Yeah.
Am I a narcissist or do I need
No,
recognition? Or like, what the fuck?
no, I don't think so at all. And I'm glad we're kind of getting into stuff like this because I mean, I'll say for myself, like, I'm not a musician, but doing this show and wanting to get exposure this way, it's not because I want to be known or famous or have people um recognize me. It's cool. I went to a festival a couple weeks ago and had a few people like stop me and say, "Hi, you're that person on YouTube." But that's not like why I do it. But I think the reason why you want to market yourself, why I wanted to market myself and get out there is just to feel like I'm not just a fan, but an active member of the scene and have that people see me as that way. And I think for musicians, maybe that's the same kind of feeling.
It's pretty vulnerable. It's a
Yeah.
vulnerable position to be in because you set yourself up to be criticized almost. You set yourself
Mm.
up to be like, explain yourself, explain what this is. It's like, I don't really know, I'm just I'm just kind of putting it out there. I feel like I want to do something different in all these things, but I don't know, you know. As a fan, this is the kind of music I would want to hear. So there you go. I guess I'll put it out because of that.
Yeah, the vulnerability side of it, that must be strange because like, I actually was on Angry Metal Guy this morning because one of my favorite kind of reviewers and seeing, your record was on there and like what does that feel like to have someone like kind of dissect your record and say like what they like and what they don't like about
What
it.
did they say? What did they say?
uh, yeah, I mean they gave you a 3.5 out of 5, which is a really good score. So
Wow.
here,
Yeah,
all that
that's
said,
pretty
in my
good.
grave silence is a beautiful listen, and it will haunt you with its melodies and plaintive singing, and it will calm you with its lightly played arrangements. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I don't think it would change anything. I'm almost 50 years old. It's like I don't really care, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm glad that people like it, but if I got a shitty review, I don't know if it would drag me down or something, because this isn't like a money making thing or anything. It's just
I
fun. So I want people to like it, of course, and I don't know what feeling that is or what that fulfills in me, but I do want people to like it, but I also probably don't really care, I guess. you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone wants their art or something they put out there to be disliked. So I think it's just like the preference. I hope I would prefer that you like this. Like it doesn't like change my creative
Yeah,
process, but
that's right. I wonder though if like a My Dying Bride fan would like this shit. I'm a My Dying Bride fan and I like it, but I think maybe that distorted guitar when it's missing like this, it probably throws people for a loop a little bit.
I mean, I think it maybe challenges people, those fans of the music. Like I don't myself listen to a ton of like more acoustic folk music, but I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
so it's
that's
like,
good.
yeah. So I think it maybe pushes people. I think offering this as a Doom record maybe pushes people to kind of expand their palette a little bit, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I feel like these feelings that I'm feeling are pretty universal. I don't. Do we all think that we are thinking the same thing as everybody else? I don't know. Sometimes I get in trouble for that.
Mhm.
I feel like, oh, if I'm thinking this way, maybe others must be feeling this way too. But in metal, especially, this concept of obsession with death and being being comfortable with suffering and all these things, I feel like that is pretty universal.
Mhm. Yeah, you know, for such an underground genre of metal, it does seem to deal with things that are very tangible and very everyday. At least in doom metal,
Do you think most people that are into this have had family members that die, or like have experienced death at a very early age? Maybe.
I mean, I think a lot of people that are in this music into this music have had something that like elicits some type of emotion that where this draws them to. I mean, I know
Yeah,
I do. So yeah, I think, I mean, I'm sure there's people who just like the sound, but I'm sure there is like a lot of people are drawn to metal because of the emotions that maybe people that don't understand metal don't feel.
that's right.
Yeah.
Having gone through death and stuff, it's kind of a turned into a blessing in some ways. This this comfortableness around death and being appreciative of life comes from knowing that it could fucking end at any moment. So that's good.
Hmm.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Fuck the that unknown that that thing, you hold things so dear, and that fear that you could lose it at any moment. That is heavy. That is a heavy thing to think about, and to write about it must be insane.
Yeah, feels pretty easy to me, I guess. But I often think, these philosophical kind of exercises, like, okay, you're given a death sentence, you only have 2 weeks to live. What would you do? It's not going to be like fucking go to Bangkok and like go and go wherever. It's not going to be traveling. It's going to be spending time with your loved ones, right? It's going to be just fucking being present with the people that are around you and really enjoying their presence and their energy. And why can we do that? Why do I have to like push so hard to like be productive and travel and do all these things that instead of just sitting back and enjoying it? I don't understand. Sometimes I have a hard time with this.
I'm totally off topic, but is that a picture of your dog over there? Very cute.
Oh, he died.
Oh, yeah.
That was my dog Oscar. Yeah, he died a couple years ago. That's his
Oh,
ashes
so
up there.
sorry. Yeah,
Talking about death, Jesus.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
dogs, humans. I mean, dogs are sometimes worse than humans. As far as the impact. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I think about my dog, and I don't want to. I don't know what I'll do when she dies. It's gonna be
Mm.
horrible, you know. Like, yeah, like I can only imagine what that feeling it must feel like. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible. But as we get older, we can't avoid it.
mhm. Yeah. And now, so I'm curious. You mentioned Solitude Eternus. You mentioned Warning. You mentioned My Dying Bride. Give me some other, essential bands in your taste. So what are some of your favorite? It doesn't even have to be Doom Act. I just want to know like metal bands that are always like these are the important ones to me.
Well, the Oliver album, Kveldslanger or whatever. I don't know how to say it. That album, fucking like
Yeah.
when I heard that in the '90s when that came out, I was like, oh, this is metal adjacent. This is an album.
Hmm.
Bergtad is amazing and had a little glimpses of it, but then they went full on folk, and I was like, what the hell? I didn't, I was not expecting that at all. So, Oliver is always close to my heart because of that.
I
I
like the
don't know
term
this.
metal adjacent. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Dungeon Synth is too, right? It's
Yeah.
definitely metal adjacent. I think everybody that gets into it is from the metal world. So they're not going to be. Maybe they're into movie soundtracks or some shit, but I don't know.
Hmm.
But yeah, I listen to a lot of death metal and black metal. I don't know, man. It's overwhelming. You see, I've got a cassette collection back there. So I listen to a lot of music, but my favorite bands are Death and Iron Maiden and uh I don't know, fucking a lots of Fates Warning, a lot of progressive metal,
That's
but
my Eddie tattoo.
also what do you have there?
That's my Eddie tattoo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Iron Maiden. I have an Iron Maiden tattoo as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're the best. And they hit me at a very young age, probably you too, and they haven't really done anything to make me hate them. So appreciate that. A lot of bands fucking some stupid shit happens.
I'm glad you mentioned Fate's Warning. Because talk about an emotional metal band. I think Awaken the Guardian
Yeah.
is one of the most. I think okay, specifically the track Guardian off of Awaken the Guardian is one of the most
Yeah.
beautiful songs I've ever
Yeah, I agree,
heard.
man.
Yeah.
So good. And John Arch, his vocal style is
Yeah.
just like it's unparalleled. Did you hear that solo album he put out? It was like 10,
No.
15 years ago. There was two tracks. Um, it was one of them was called Cheyenne, Cheyenne. That track is fucking incredible. It's like 12 minutes or something long. And it was put out in like 2004 or something, but he made a return to the Fates Warning sound. I don't know. He was like doing roofs and shit. So he came back and, started doing metal again. And anyway, yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Wow. What a so John
Twist
Arch his
fate or
solo product with he did it with Mike Portnoy and Joey Vera.
yeah.
That's quite a lineup.
Yeah, they got him back like he's like like he was doing painting houses or some shit. It's like, hey man, why don't you start singing again? It's like, okay, I guess I'll do it. Then they wrote the music for him, I think, in like a Fates Warning style, and that's pretty incredible. Not a lot of people remember that album, so I'm glad to talk about it.
Yeah, well, I adore that record, and when I found out what once again that song Guardian is
Yeah,
about, I think it's about a friend or a family member that was disabled, and John Arch is so dumbfounded like how are I'll be there for you, but I can't understand what you're going through. This is
wow. Yeah, I didn't realize that. I didn't know what it was about. That's incredible.
yeah
Wow, wow, that's awesome.
yeah uh yeah metal can be beautiful, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, or like I'm not.
Even a mosh pit like a suicidal tendencies show, there's something really community. There's that community feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. But if somebody saw that from the outside that wasn't familiar, they'd be like, that's fucking violence. Like, I'm gonna stay away from that. But for us, it's like, no, this is a beautiful thing. It's joy. It's pure joy.
Yeah. I I saw I was at a festival a couple weeks ago. Like I said, I was at Maryland Death Fest.
I
Saw
didn't go this year, went last year, but
okay,
next
yeah.
year I'll try to find you for sure. I think I'm going
I
next.
but I saw Razor, a classic speed metal band. There's nothing quote unquote pretty about their music, but
Yeah.
just the being in a crowd of like-minded people that were all about this thing is was life-giving to me. And
Isn't that amazing? They
yeah,
say it feels like a isolated kind of hobby for a lot of times when we were younger. I mean, we had a few friends. I had a few friends that were into it, but not. I went pretty deep into metal, and left a lot of people behind, And so if when you get around a bunch of people that know like all of Cynic Focus, like at Maryland Death Fest or something, it's like, oh my god, that's fucking
yeah.
incredible.
Mhm. Or even some of the more obscure bands that I know that I'm like excited to see. There are other people excited to see this band that like not many other people outside of who's in Baltimore right now have heard of. That's wild to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If if you see somebody with like an obscure shirt, do you talk to them about that, or do you
Oh
just
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
that's kind of a metal thing where it's like, I don't know, man, I'm too shy, or I don't want to, you know. But I do it as well. But I have had friends that are like, no, I don't talk to people. It's like, come on, man.
I was in my hotel. I a person that I had seen at the festival a couple times was just happened to be on in the elevator with me, and they said how excited they were to see Cult of Fire, and I'm also very excited to see Cult of Fire. But Cult of Fire is not like a household name. Not many
No,
people heard of that name. Like having someone else excited to see the same obscure band that you are. There's something special about
yeah, that's like instant friendship. That's kind of how
that.
I used to make friends that way in like the 90s.
Yeah.
If you were into obituary, like we're best friends.
Mhm.
Sometimes those relationships don't last because as we grow older, we want to be, have more things in common. But
Yeah.
it's a way to start it.
I mean, my best friend, we became the first time we talked was because she saw my Spectral Wounds shirt. So I was like,
Wow,
yeah. So
that's amazing. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you bonded on other things as well, I'm sure. But
Well, yeah, but
it's the gateway, though.
it is a gateway. Gateway,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh yeah, I'd have friends that were just like only in Iron Maiden or Morbid Angel. It's like, okay, we're best friends.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I I mean you live in Portland, so like I know there is a huge metal scene there. So but
Yeah,
I
we're pretty lucky. Agalok, of course, but Spirit Possession. I don't know if you heard them now, but they're amazing.
here's this is my battle vest.
Nice, dude. Oh, amazing. That's awesome. So good. Yeah. How do they make so much sound out of two piece like that? It's incredible.
Well, that amazed me too, but also just seeing the front guy play guitar with no pick.
Dude. Yeah. Play with his fingers. Like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah. I got to see him perform again this year because he played with Black Hearse.
Nice.
I think they're from Portland, but yeah, no, Portland has such a there's something in the water there that has so much metal.
Yeah, I think there's a appreciation of the arts.
Yeah.
And
So
it's different. It's not just metal. There's a lot of music from all genres, so it's kind of cool that exists like that. It's kind of like a thing that used to happen more, even like in Seattle or something. But it's nice that it's still happening in Portland. Where do you live?
I live in Minneapolis. Also, mistake. Black Hearse is from Denver, but they have a member from Portland. But yeah, I live in Minneapolis. We have a small scene here, so it's harder to find people with that like-minded. Uh,
Yeah,
I know we have a weird. There's a punk scene here, but I mean there are definitely metal bands here. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like it's not like as part of the culture as maybe some other cities are.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, that's how it goes. And yeah, we are blessed here, as they say. So I'm grateful to be friends with a lot of musicians and stuff, and I think that that's kind of unusual in the States, you know, that bands like Uada or something, these guys can like make a big career out of their out of it, you know, and
Yeah,
they're from Portland. It's pretty cool.
making a career out of black metal. Who knew that was possible?
Uada's great, dude. The fucking live, they're incredible live. I love that.
I did get this. I did. So you were at Maryland Death Fest last year. Aglock played, and they
Yeah,
were very special live. Yeah,
yeah. Had you seen them before? Or?
I hadn't seen them before. No.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make people weep sometimes. At the Fortress Fest in England, the security guy was handing out tissues to people in the front row.
Wow.
Yeah, was pretty good.
But that's also a band that like they're not when you think about it, they're not that far off from what you're doing with Dolven because I mean, you're going full acoustic, but they're a band that brings in a lot of those folksy elements that I think can be a part of metal.
Yeah, I think having Jason play with me is it fits really well because of that. His bass playing is right in the pocket, and he knows how to play with acoustic instruments because of Agalot. So yeah, it does make sense, I guess. And
Mhm.
there's something about nature and Portland and all this shit, you know. So
Yeah.
it that helps too. That helps too for sure. But
Well,
yeah, Agalot have been friends and inspiration for me for a long time. So it makes sense that I have some influence from that.
mhm. Well, Nick, I want to say I really enjoy the record.
Thank you.
I hope other people do. Thank you for your time. Before I let you go, of course, I want you to plug anything else, plug where people can find this record, plug any other of your projects, plug your favorite, I don't know, what's your favorite movie? I don't care. Whatever you need to tell people, go for
Well,
it.
thanks. Yeah, just check out the new album. It's on Bandcamp, and I've got tons of vinyl. Actually, was starting to fill orders today, so they're going pretty fast. But I still have some, and yeah, if you like this dark kind of energy, but maybe more keyboards, then check out my Dungeon Synth project. Yeah, Traveler's Rest, it's called, and it gets out the same kind of emotions, except that it's just me, and I don't have to wait for other people to send me their shit, so I can just put out
Mhm.
I can put out things really quickly, which I really appreciate because I get impatient sometimes. This has been our third album in 15 years, so it just
Mhm.
takes a long fucking time to get things
Yeah.
done, you know,
Awesome.
because we all have kids and jobs and all these things, so
Yeah. No, yeah, none of us are making money off of this.
no.
um,
If I break even, I'm happy, dude, because 100 vinyl is like 1,500 bucks, and then I sell them for 20. Try to got to break even, hopefully.
I make enough money through my Patreon to where I'm not like losing money off of doing this YouTube channel, but I ain't making anything.
Yeah, well, that's really great. I mean, that's all we can ask for, really.
Yeah.
You see what bands have to do now to make
Yeah.
any money, and they're basically have to be on the road selling merch. That's the only
Mhm.
way. So
Yeah. Well, for everyone watching at home, check out In My Grave, Silence.
thank you.
It's a little different than most of the bands I bring on the show, but I think if you like some of the bands that I do interview, I think you will enjoy this. But as always, thank you to my patrons. You watching Keep It Metal, and my name is Maddie. Bye.
Thank you.